Which god does Namor the Submariner worship in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? And is there a Dungeons and Dragons connection we should consider as the movie Black Panther Wakanda Forever is set to debut on November 11th, 2022? Yup, D&D. We're going to go there and get some details that might come in handy for both Namor and Black Panther moving forward. But first, welcome back to the Mama Saga, where this Marvel-loving mama is a mother by day, but breaks down comic book sagas, movies, and shows like Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and Ms. Marvel by night. We have a whole playlist of videos on my channel you should check out. The good folks at Marvel are changing Namor's backstory for the MCU versus the ongoing Marvel comic book saga. And, the changes they're making this go-round are a bit of a stretch from the original origin story, but they've made some pretty great calls up until now, so I'll trust them. One part of the changed backstory is that Namor is going to be an avatar of the Aztec god Tepeotl, much in the same way Mark Spector is the avatar of the Egyptian god Khonshu, and T'Challa was the avatar of the Egyptian goddess Bast. So, as any good Dungeons & Dragons fan would, my first instinct was to go check out my trusty old reference book, Deities and Demigods, because I remembered from decades ago that there were these gods from the Central American mythos, and it seemed like all of these gods had a ton of consonants in their names, were in there, and one of them might be Tepeotl. So, this is what I found exploring the Dungeons and Dragons angle. Well, I found that there's good news and bad news while checking out Deities and Demigods. The bad news, at first blush, there's no specific reference to the god Tepeotl in there. But the good news, I found a lot of information about the Aztec gods, including one whose background and powers are very much like those of Tepeotl. And I've got an interesting piece of information to share that will switch things up big time before the end of this video, so stay tuned. Up front, I'm sure you've heard from other Marvel theorists that Tepeotl is the jaguar god who serves as the god of darkened caves, earthquakes, echoes, and of course, jaguars. He's often depicted as a jaguar leaping towards the sun. But I've got some details I haven't heard anyone share yet, so I'll be the first. Interestingly, Tepeotl is often depicted as a cross-eyed god and holding a white staff with green feathers. He is also the god of the third day, Kali, which is a good day for family life and home, tranquility and rest. And what my additional research has shown is that that particular day is not good for going out and participating in public life. Now think about it. What have the Atlanteans done, both in the comic book saga and soon in the MCU saga? They've hidden away from the rest of the world in their underwater city, which can only be accessed from the Arctic Ocean. The inhabitants of Atlantis don't normally go out in public. They keep to themselves. They keep their tech and riches from the rest of the world, the way the Wakandans did with respect to their tech and vibranium. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting and where things tie into Dungeons and Dragons, which might tie back into what's going to happen with Namor in Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Tepeotl is known as the heart of the mountain, as the provider of Tonali or Shadow Soul. Sounds pretty intense, right? But he's also known as the eighth lord of the night, which is another name for the Aztec pantheon of gods. Tepeotl is a deity of witchcraft, jewels, and underground treasures, and guards the entrance to the land of the dead. But my research shows that Tepeotl is also a variant of Tezcatlipoca, and that god is covered in Dungeons & Dragons book, Deities and Demigods. And I do believe that some of this information will come in handy as of the debut of the Black Panther Wakanda Forever movie this November. What is that information? Well, for starters, Tezcatlipoca is a jaguar god whose name means the smoking mirror. He is a chaotic evil god who is the patron of treacherous schemings and betrayals. Now, remember for the longest time in the Marvel comic book saga, our boy Namor, he was a straight up villain. At best, In more recent times, he's been portrayed as an anti-hero. That's at best, but he's been a foe of Black Panther for ages. I think I see a trend here. Now, Tezcatlipoca is not just a spreader of disorder and war, according to deities and demigods, but he's also a god of extreme wealth. Namor's a prince, and Atlantis is a place of great technology and wealth. According to one source, Namor has laid claim to all that has fallen into the oceans of the world, adding up to billions of dollars in lost treasure that's been hidden away in the deep seas that no mere mortal can reach. T'Challa was the only prince richer than Namor, again, thanks to the vibranium that he has access to with a value of $10,000 per ounce. So, following my extensive research to date, it's my very strong feeling that regardless of anything Riri Williams or Ironheart will do in the movie Black Panther Wakanda Forever that sets off a collision course between Atlantis and Wakanda, we shouldn't be laying full blame on her for the battle that ensues that may very well lead to the MCU-related death of King T'Challa. I'm going to suspect that Tepeotl has served as the instigator of and or patron saint support of Prince Namor's desire to kill T'Challa and overtake Wakanda. So that disorder and war spreads. T'Challa has been sent to the land of the dead, and in Namor's ideal world, he has overthrown T'Challa to claim his kingdom and all of his riches to add to his already overflowing coffers. If you've ever studied history, you'll often find that some of the greatest warlords didn't stop their conquests after racking up a great deal of spoils, including treasure. Oh no, when you have all the money in the world, what is there left to crave and chase? Power. And absolute power, as they say, corrupts absolutely. I'm thinking we're going to see a clash of two kingdoms that is not going to end in one single solitary movie, Wakanda Forever. That's just the beginning, and I can't wait to see it. Can you? I'd love to hear your thoughts about that and the research I've done into the Aztec god Tepeotl and his very useful connections to Bast and Wakanda moving forward in the MCU. Anyway, you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok and subscribe to the Mama Saga for more comic book saga breakdowns, Salty Mama style. Thanks for watching, take care, and see you next time.